I'm not going to do that. I'm just stalling because I struggled to come up with 8 entries for the 7th part in this series. Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to things and stuff, specifically things and stuff that the other country doesn't have a word for. And somehow this entire series is now up to part 7, which is frankly ridiculous, and I almost wouldn't keep it going were it not for the fact that parts 5 and 6 went viral. Thanks for that, internet. But in this series we've done hush puppies, bleachers, nor'easters, not all at the same time, that would be ridiculous. And if you'd like to watch all of the videos in the series and make more of them go viral to convince family members of mine that this is a real job, then access the entire playlist from my YouTube homepage. Anyway, without any further mucking about, here are 8 American things that Britain doesn't even have a word for. Part 7. Oh, this one brings back a lot of memories of when I had my first Tex-Mex at a really bad party in 2009. Somebody had prepared a cheese dip, and I remember they were oddly excited by the fact that they'd done so using a brand name called Velveeta, which I thought was an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical. And how can I describe Velveeta in its non-melted form? It's sort of like American cheese, right? And I can hear my British viewers going, "Ooh, Lawrence, what is that?" And American cheese are those thin slices of rubber that you put on hamburgers, not actual rubber. And I suppose the main difference is that Avita comes in a big squishy block. Did I? I meant Velveeta. A Gila Monster is an animal that you find in the southwestern United States. And they're bloomin' weird looking. I mean, I bet the rest of America doesn't even have a word for this. And while you might think that this animal is some sort of snake or an oversized piece of confectionery, you'd be wrong. It's in fact a lizard. And not only that, it's the only venomous lizard native to the United States. Now, thankfully, the Gila Monster, which I swear is its actual name and not some character from The Hobbit, isn't typically a threat to humans. All that to say, if you find yourself lost in the Arizona desert and one of these walks past you, don't yourself. That said, with this entry, you have my express permission to do precisely that, especially if you're the sort of person that doesn't like things fluttering around them. Because lunar moths are not only green, they have a wingspan of several inches. At first glance, you might confuse them for leaves from a tree, which is appropriate because they are largely found east of the Mississippi River, which houses the lion's share of America's forests. Now, the cynics among you might think that I put a food item right after the Gila Monster and lunar moths to put you off your dinner, and you'd be correct. I'm always doing pranks like that. But corn dogs are no laughing matter, because I still have memories of being in the sweltering heat at the Indiana State Fair, and instead of cooling me down with some sort of fan, my friends at the time shoved a corn dog in my face. But what is a corn dog? Well, thankfully it's not a canine constructed out of yellow food, but it is a sausage on a stick covered in cornmeal batter. And at first, I'll be honest, I didn't really like them, largely because it was 102 degrees outside. But my stance on corn dogs has changed in recent years, as has my opinion of those friends. I'm just going to be honest with you, I only included this one because I like the name Loblolly Pine. Loblolly Pine. How can you not like that? I could fall asleep to myself saying Loblolly Pine, Loblolly Pine, Loblolly Pine, Loblolly Pine. But what is a loblolly pine? Well, a loblolly pine is a type of tree that you can't find anywhere but the United States of America. Specifically, the southern United States of America and parts of the east. And there must be a lot of them down there because despite the fact that they're concentrated in a relatively small area of the United States, they are nonetheless the second most common species of tree in the country behind the red maple. And they're so slender that you can imagine them being used in cartoons as catapults. And it's things like this that keep me awake at night. My goodness, 14 years ago, long before I became a YouTube sensation, I was introduced for the first time to the concept of free refills. It's America, you know, and if you're done with your Dr. Pepper, you can go back for seconds free of charge. If you're done with your coffee, you just have the waiter come over and top you up. If you want another beer, you have to pay for that. But yay for the caffeine and/or sugar rush. Free refills were not something that I encountered in Britain, and if you would like to know more about this phenomenon and how it took off in America, check out this video, Why Does America Do Free Refills? Who says that pirates don't live among us here in the United States? I don't think anyone's ever said that. Well, I say it only to correct myself by talking about porch pirates. What are porch pirates, Lawrence? Well, a porch pirate is a term that the American media often uses to describe people that steal packages from people's porches, right? And I'm not saying that package theft doesn't happen in Britain. I'm sure it does. But number one, if we do, we don't really have a name for it other than thief. Number two, our porches are usually round the back. And number three, from watching Porch Pirate prank videos, yes, this is a subgenre of YouTube, it seems that America has a much bigger problem with porch piracy than any other nation in the world. Thankfully, there are a lot of cases out there of these absolute clowns being set up by the police or pranksters who, in place of a genuine package, will leave them a box containing the aroma of, I don't know, a skunk. Check those videos out on YouTube. They're absolutely hilarious. They are. In fact, I might just react to one right now. I'm not going to do that. I'm just stalling because I struggle to come up with 8 entries for the 7th part in this series. So we're going to finish by getting off this plane and going home. I meant that literally. Deplaning is a word that is used when you land at airports here in the United States. I don't really remember what the staff would say to us in an equivalent situation in Britain, except, bugger off. And now, whenever I think of this concept of deplaning, I just think it would be hilarious if you did that very thing in the Illinois city of Des Plaines. It's pronounced Des Plaines, so that wouldn't work. Also, Des Plaines doesn't have a dedicated airport, so you'd have to land in a field. It's the worst ending. That is how we're going to end this video. Thank you for joining me for this series. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that my videos don't get lost in a field, the pond. Thank you to my patrons who make these videos possible. If you would like to become a patron of Lost in the Pond, you can do so today at patreon.com/LostInThePond. Until the next video, goodbye and have a great weekend.